Gil Martin here, and welcome everybody to the Daily Packers Post, where we bring you in depth coverage of your Green Bay Packers. We'll have new videos dropping every day, Monday through Friday. So make sure you hit subscribe and hit the like button so you get new episodes as soon as they drop. Well, this is a big week across the National Football League. The free agency tampering period starts Monday afternoon. You could start officially signing free agents Wednesday afternoon. And the question is, what will we expect the Green Bay Packers to do in free agency here at the start of the new 2025 league year? And it's an interesting question, and it has a lot to do with how the Packers are approaching this offseason. One thing we know, the salary cap is not going to be an issue. Brian Gutekunst had approximately $49 million to work with before he signed Isaiah McDuffie and Brandon McManus to new contracts. So that's going to take it down to about 42 million, give or take. But keep in mind that the Packers can probably easily restructure the performance bonuses and roster bonuses of several other players and add up to another $50 million in cap space for 2025 if they just change those to signing bonuses. And they don't need the players' permission to do that. They will also get at least another $6.7 million in 2025 cap relief if they do move on from Jair Alexander. And that's what they are expected to do. So rest assured, if the Packers are looking to add players via free agency, the cap is not going to be an impediment to them doing that. Now, what are the team's areas of need? Well, one of the biggest that people have been talking about is wide receiver. You heard Josh Jacobs talk about this during Super Bowl week, that Jordan Love needs a go-to number one receiver, a reliable guy who's experienced, who's proven, who's not going to drop too many passes and can keep the offense humming, the chains moving. They haven't really had a go-to wide receiver number one since parting ways with Devontae Adams. And again, that is one big area of need. Another one is obviously cornerback, especially if Jair Alexander does move on, as is expected. Right now, you've got Keyshawn Nixon, Carrington Valentine, and Javon Bullard as your starters on the perimeter, and then Bullard in the slot. But more depth definitely needed. So that is an area. And then the pass rush seems to be a big concern. Jeff Hafley had to blitz a lot more than he wanted to in 2024 because the front four just wasn't getting home when he just sent them straight ahead to rush the passer, even on obvious passing downs. Rashawn Gary led the team with 7.5 sacks. That was also tops among the front four, followed by Devontae Wyatt with 5. But you really need to get more juice against opposing passers from the front four, and adding a big time free agent in this area would certainly be good. And when we're talking about free agents, I'm not talking about a guy they're signing to be a role player, and a guy who's 35 years old, has maybe 1 or 2 seasons left. They sign him to a 1 year, contract near the veteran minimum. I'm talking about a big ticket impact kind of a player. And we saw the Packers do that last year. They added Xavier McKinney at safety, Josh Jacobs at running back, and both of them were impact players. They paid off with Pro Bowl berths and leadership and experience. And I think when we look at those two players, and even if we go back to the other huge free agent class that Gutekunst had as general manager, which is 2019, what he's looking for are guys who are still in their 20s, who can have a big impact, and most of them are just ending their entry level 4-year rookie contracts, or a year, maybe 2 at most, into their second deal with the team, and whether they're let go or whether they want to move on, whatever the case may be. So again, older players could be added, but we're looking primarily at guys who are in their 20s, probably somewhere between 25 and 29. Maybe you go to 30, but then the deal is probably less. And those are the kind of players that the Packers are going to look to add. Now, what do I expect more than anything? I think Gutekunst, before the offseason started, after the Packers lost to the Eagles in the playoffs and Gutekunst was sort of wrapping up the year, he talked about having a greater sense of urgency to win championships, to win a Super Bowl. Well, how do you prove that you have that greater sense of urgency? Signing big ticket free agents is certainly one of those ways. And I think Gutekunst is going to aggressively pursue that and back up his words. The question is he going to sign one, two? I can't see it being more than three big ticket free agents. And it's got to be the right guys. One thing about Goody, he is not going to just say, hey, I need to show the fans that I'm doing something. So even if it's not an ideal fit, I'm going to go out there and, sign the best available defensive end and add him to our roster, even though he doesn't fit what we're trying to do. That's not something he's going to do. So I think we're going to see one or two big ticket free agents. If you can't find those, I think the trade route is the next area. And then obviously, as we've seen with Goody in the past, even if he signs a free agent or two at a position of need, he will double down or triple down in the draft. We saw that in 2019. The Packers signed Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith as free agents, and then in the first round, turned around and drafted Rashawn Gary. So that's not something that really scares Gutekunst. In fact, when there is a big need on the roster, he will double down or triple down at that position. We saw him do it with safety last year, wide receiver a couple of years ago. So that is sort of how Brian Gutekunst operates, and it's how we expect him to continue to operate during this 2025 offseason, where the Packers are hoping to go from, bona fide back-to-back years as a playoff team to a team that can seriously be considered a Super Bowl contender in the 2025 season. So we are here every day, Monday through Friday. Check out our website at thepackerspost.com for in-depth articles on the Packers. We have those 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. I'm Gil Martin. Thanks for watching the Daily Packers Post. Have a great day, everybody. And of course, go Pack Go.